Take it from here and give them guidance on how to get the name out and get the brand out and give them some free guidance?
Yeah, first of all, I love the idea of the product. I got to tell you, I haven't tasted it yet, but I am dying to taste it. I was thinking, being that, have you figured out a quality distribution strategy where you could actually, because I'm thinking big for you, you know, not because opening up locations is expensive and also risky. And I was thinking if you could take that one location and you can manufacture either from the kitchen or build a commissary, do you have a distribution methodology where you could distribute to households through the mail, where you could actually put them on ice and send them out like so many other companies do, where you can bring them in, you can let them calm down, and you can have them fresh the next day? And I was thinking more of a direct response television campaign, because you have so many, 75 different kinds of cannolis is amazing. You could have an amazing campaign that could excite people's senses, make them hungry and desirable of your product. Call your 800 number, you could fulfill it. Go to your website, you could fulfill it, and you could have an overnight boom and success.
Yeah, we have been working on that. It's just like figuring out the cost for shipping the product, because it is perishable, so it has to be overnight, and the weight of the box, that's one thing that stops us, because then the shipping costs more than the product itself.
Sure. Can I?
Right.
Jordan, but how do you just go about getting yourself on an infomercial? I mean, it sounds fabulous, but...
Right. What I think it's really easy. I would test this locally. You could produce a very nice, your first commercial that could be expandable for you. Test it on a local basis. Cut a deal with FedEx. They're all looking for more business, or UPS, or one of the overnight carriers, and then test it to make sure your media methodology is good, meaning what is my cost per call, what is my cost per order, what is my ROI, and then what I could have is your shipping could be, you know, plus shipping. People don't mind to pay for quality. If you look at my client Papa John's, we are more expensive than Domino's and Pizza Hut, but I got to tell you, the people can taste the difference, and they will pay for a better tasting product.
Jordan, in terms of branding, what do you think of the name? Because
these are pretty cool, and I think.
Okay.
Go ahead. I think it's very, very cool, and I think the more people that name starts to come out of people's mouths, the more it's going to connect and ultimately become the name whether it's associated with cannolis. I love it. It's like people always say, "What do you think of the name?" I would have never told you Google would be successful, because who thought the name Google would be a name that would come out of our mouth every day? But today, Google it.
Yeah, it's a verb now. Jordan, before we actually get our other panelists to jump in, could they try all this manufacturing via the social media world? Get it out there on Facebook, get it out there on Twitter, say, hey, we'll send it to you, get in touch with us. Like, really, totally go kamikaze social media.
You could absolutely, Tracy. There's plenty of things you could do socially by, you know, really activating your fan page. We actually showed some videos on that fan page of manufacturing. You actually showed the products on that fan page. You actually had a button where they could actually order right there and go right over to your website. I mean, there's plenty to do. You could also post anything on YouTube where you showed how you manufactured up there on YouTube so people could see it coming to life. You know, I think the social world and the interactive world today is so large and possesses so many opportunities that you and your company could start there, start the revenue stream starting to come, and use the cash flow from it to really invest in producing a high-end quality television commercial that you can go out into the direct response world.
Kathleen, you want to jump in?
Well, I think
I'm going to eat the Girl Scout cookie. It is unbelievable. It's a Samoa, isn't it?
Samoa?
Exactly. I think one of the best ways that we actually got Tate's cookies out there is demos, getting into people's mouths and creating your brand. You both have this very warm, trusting, wonderful personality, and it goes really well with a food product. And to be able to do, like in Whole Foods, if you do in-store demos, getting people to try them, and creating a more solid foundation and a solid brand. And then as you grow, you start to get the brand recognition with your website, per se. Tell more of a story about yourself. I went on the website, and it should be like warmer and more friendly, and basically saying who you are, and maybe pictures from when you're Italian family and starting in your business, and get people to create a sense of community and a connection to your company, and then you start to build.
I love the
brand.
pumpkin Irish, ricotta. It's almost like Irish meets Italian, and we became a cannoli.
I'm a dessert.
Do you know what I'm saying, though?
I'm a dessert freak.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
These are unbelievable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're very unique. I've eaten a lot of cannoli in my life. And see, I said it right, cannoli. No S.
It's all right.
We're trying to have like this marriage too between cultures, which is kind of
Right, that's what I'm
what we
saying.
love.
That's the story.
That's the story. I love the whole pumpkin. Who would put pumpkin in ricotta? My mother's going right now.
I know, but you know what? You eat it, and then you don't do anymore.
Giorgio, do you have any tips for these guys?
Absolutely. I think I haven't tried the product yet. Actually, I'm sitting here salivating practically.
They're unbelievable.
Yeah, I take your word. It looks great. And I agree. I agree with what you just said earlier about your personalities, I think, can go a long way in terms of telling the story. And the fact that your background is Italian, this is an Italian product. You have a great product. I take Duggan's word for it, and I'll be trying it in a moment. But I think that's the most important thing, because, and Jordan said it right himself, and I say this oftentimes to my brothers and to other people, the consumer is not stupid. Actually, consumers are very smart, and people are willing to pay more. If you give them a great product, and I'm the average Joe, I will pay more. I'm happy to. I would, in addition to what Jordan mentioned, because I had also the same question in my mind also. I don't see necessarily a lot of retail locations being open, but in developing that quality distribution infrastructure, maybe there's a second-tier approach also. For example, maybe I represent a distribution channel for you. We have 128 locations, mostly here in the U.S. Maybe we start here in New York. We have in the New York metro area about 40 locations. We become a channel to get the product to market and get the brand name out. We have a distribution network in the U.S., coast to coast, that you could leverage off of. And then secondly, I would offer that this, I think, is especially the packaging, which is critically important. I think you could go to a QVC or a home shopping network.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And, people are paying a lot more money for, I'm not sure how you would price this out. I'm not the expert in that, but, for sillier things and really delicious, great-looking cannolis. And then the last thing I would say is I think this is a very sexy product. The fact that it's not just your average traditional cannoli, you're bringing some extra flair. I haven't seen that done yet, and I think it's very interesting. I could see on a Mother's Day coming tomorrow, or whatever the holiday is, or an anniversary.
Right.
Instead of a flower bouquet, you get this bouquet of delicious cannolis, and maybe you get your wife or your husband's favorite recipes in a cannoli format. I think it's fantastic.
And I love the idea that you can fill them yourself. I don't know if people could see that there's a do-it-yourself box.
Right. That's great.
Which is great.
You want to buy it?
Yes.
Okay.
I
want you to taste it because I think it's spectacular. And you're Italian, so you would know cannoli. It's
that's a Samoa.
yeah, it's delicious. But
Wow.
guys, thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you
Keep
very
us
much.
and Giorgio's going to give you
I'm
his
gonna have
card when he leaves. It gives you another outlet for sales. Brielle DeHaan and Anthony Fontana stuffed artisan cannolis. They're amazing if
Love
they're
it,
in your
love it.
store.